Okay, I think we're ready to roll here. By all signs, we're back. We're rolling. Cohen's video is on.
My video is on
We
this
think.
time.
We
I hope
think.
so.
Yeah.
I
because-
100% turned mine on. So,
Yeah, and I turned the other ones on. I can see if mine goes out, but welcome back.
isn't it ironic the slander that you brought to me the last time where I didn't bring the equipment, but then look how it goes back to you because you turned the video on.
No.
Ay,
I
ay.
turned the video on. For a fact, I hit that red button.
I believe you, but
I believe your camera's just broken, so we're gonna have to fix that.
erroneous.
But we're back, another episode.
Another episode.
Great to see you guys. Glad
It's
to be
good
here.
to see you.
I'm very amped for this one. I got some fun topics for us. It'll be interesting to.
You're pretty excited about these topics too.
I have been.
I'm excited to get you going.
I'm probably gonna forget the topics. No, I don't think I can forget the topics.
Get
but
your phone out then.
I'm on video with my phone.
Oh, on that one too.
So
Okay,
yeah,
gotcha.
there's no option for that. It's either I remember or it's on me. But
Listen, we'll riff. We'll riff if we need to.
we'll start this. How do we start this? First, I want to give a thank you to all the viewers and all the people watching this.
Yes.
because we
thank
haven't.
you. Thank you guys.
I think our first
been fun.
episode was posted on August 25th, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And we're doing well. We got an audience. I appreciate all of you guys. Glad you're here with us.
Like, you subscribe on YouTube, listen to us wherever you get your podcast, and let's keep it rolling. Keep
Yeah.
it rolling. Our views are going up. The Reels, the TikTok is going crazy right now, so
Yeah.
you got to love that.
Got to get on Apple Podcasts. We're not there yet. We're getting there.
Yes,
We'll
we get to
figure
get
that
on
out.
Apple
We'll
Podcasts
get
for
to you
sure.
Apple people. But thank you guys. One of my
For the
main-
haters, too.
Yeah.
Shout out to the haters.
Yeah, we love the haters. But
Love the haters. You guys don't know what you're talking about, although Travis Hunter, I might have to retract my comment on Travis Hunter.
Oh,
I do think
wow.
he's physically capable. I'm not going to retract the statement that I think he's physically capable of playing in the league, but he did get hurt, and he did get a cheap shot in the Colorado versus Colorado State game, and he's out, I think, with a lacerated liver. So, Travis Hunter, we're sending thoughts and prayers. I want to get you a speedy recovery because Trent and I are going to be out in USC, Colorado, over in Boulder,
really?
September 30th. That's a crazy football weekend, by the way. I know you're not like a huge football
Yeah,
fan, but
you know.
we will be seeing Colorado versus USC, Shador Sanders and Caleb Williams, and we're also going to be seeing this Sunday. We're shotgunning this thing, so it's going to be Friday night fly in, Saturday game, Sunday fly back in the morning. 8:25 Sunday Night Football, Jets versus Chiefs.
Wow.
Wild.
I have a weekend one time.
It's a football weekend. We'll be having some content for that as well. We're going to shoot some of that over. So for all the Puncher's Chance fans, you guys can find us. Some video will be put out. I'll have Ty's edit some of the clips and get it rolling.
Yeah.
So you guys will see us in Colorado, man.
That's a fun weekend.
It is a fun
have
weekend.
a weekend.
Yes, but sorry, go ahead.
No. We're rifting and I enjoy it. But just getting into the first topic of the day, I was thinking about it and I noticed myself. One of the main reasons why I wanted to do a podcast to begin with was to have the ability to communicate better.
Sure.
Because I've
sure.
noticed myself that I've never been a great communicator, at least in person.
In what? Yeah, you mean like in
Like
person?
face to face, me and you, just two people talking. That's never been my greatest strength. Quite honestly, and I'm aware of it. And that's why a podcast, in my opinion, at least with somebody else, was one thing I wanted to do.
Right. Someone that you
because-
know, someone you feel like you can get deeper with, and you've been able to expand conversations with. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But so I've noticed recently that I've had much more capability to be able to talk to somebody more naturally, at least, and more effectively.
Sure.
And
that's good.
It's crazy
Really
because
good.
we're only.
And you're talking random people, or you're talking
Yeah,
people like people you meet in the street, or people you meet in like a bar or something like that?
Just anyone, honestly. Like
Okay.
I'll have conversations with strangers, and like I'll always leave it feeling like I didn't like say the right thing or
Yeah. You
say
didn't tap into all of the things that you wanted to say to that person.
right.
Sure.
Yeah, and so
Okay.
recently we're only six. What are we, 6? This is episode 6.
Yes.
And I'm already feeling much better in the communication department. Like I feel like I look you in the eyes more than I
That's
used
nice.
to be able
It's
to.
honestly a good thing. 'cause
Like-
that's the growth. That's the
Yeah.
growth you're trying to obtain
So-
in anything you're doing.
So I guess the question of the day for on this general topic would be, why is it so difficult for people to communicate nowadays and look people in the eyes and be an effective communicator in general? Because that seems to be a lost art for us, especially in the technology world that we live in.
Yes, I would say it's a loaded question.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's a loaded question because of people's experiences with communication and the lines of communication versus who's also having the conversation. Like, I think with adults, like, it's different when you're having a conversation with adult and not to say you're not an adult now, but someone who's lived a life understands the lack of magnitude or the how unimportant it feels when you're talking to just a normal person, like an adult who talks to you in their mid-40s, who's been to different countries, talked to different people, worked in different jobs. They can look at you and say, well, you're a 21-year-old, and you're kind of just like a kid to them.
Yeah.
They look at you as you don't have as many experiences, so there's not much that I can't say to you. And on your end, it's probably difficult because they've had conversations with others who have had probably a similar amount of connection to the world. And so right now you just don't have enough connection to the world yet. Like, I don't think you've had enough experiences with different styles of people. You've been pretty connected to your town. So when you get a chance to go somewhere different and have conversations, you may learn something new that you maybe didn't learn before. So, and there's things that are just igniting the way you think, right?
Yeah.
There's more information for you to learn. So that is good about the technology side of things. But yeah, I think you got to have some more experience.
Yeah, I'm excited to experience life more. I feel like I'm starting to break out of my shell and become more curious of the world
Sure.
and want to explore the world. All throughout high school and early stages of college,
Right.
I never wanted to. I always wanted to stay in my ways and just not go far from the branch or whatever the saying is.
That's an East Coast thing too. It's an East Coast thing. When you talk to people who've, in different regions of the country, south, going down south in the U.S., all the way out toward the Midwest to the Northwest Pacific area, down to California, and everything in between that Southwest area of the country, and north too, right? You get different parts of the world. You get different. It almost feels like it's its own world in the U.S. and in North America, but specifically because of how much of a melting pot it actually is. And the Northeast is very traditional. Most of the things you do are going to be catered around staying within your three-state region. Whether your tri-state is, especially if you're in New Jersey, right? So the tri-states are different. Like, if you're in Central Jersey, you still identify with more North Jersey stuff. So you're thinking New York, Connecticut, and New Jersey, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, New Jersey, New York, Connecticut is your tri-state. And
maybe even Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania should be considered that, but it's also that in South Jersey. So, like, South Jersey's tri-state is New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Delaware. So you cut the state in half, and you're getting two different sides of the tri-state. Or you're getting two separate tri-states.
Right.
And then you get into the Mid-Atlantic, which is the DMV, and they look at the world similar but also different because now you're getting toward the south.
Yeah.
And so, the way you will learn different conversation topics to what you want to say to how you say it is really depending on the people, right? Like, we have a similar upbringing, so being that you're from New Jersey, there's not much that you haven't seen that's like massively different unless you're just like in the cow town going toward Delaware area and you've lived in Hoboken your entire life. Right?
Yeah.
You just don't stray that far away from the pack when it comes to New Jersey and some of the things that some of the ways you live here. So that's an interesting part of it. But overall, yeah, I think you just need to continue to learn more places, learn the way that they live, and you'll have a little bit more of an outlook on how it is. Like, RJ probably has been to
Oh my goodness.
hundreds of places where he can identify how to speak to those people and what their culture, provides. And when you go down south, to Southern hospitality is a real thing, right? Southern hospitality would bring, you get to talk to people who have just a different outlook on the way that the world works. It's slower paced. People are more familial out there. There's more emphasis on religion. So people are more catered to the Bible Belt situation down there, which is great in a lot of ways. And sometimes it's good. It's bad in some ways and good in some others, right? But overall, the conversations you're having are different, right?
Yeah.
The conversations in the Northeast are much different. The conversations out West are different because of just the lifestyle. So the more lifestyle changes you make, you're going to have probably better conversations.
Yeah, it's interesting, and Southern hospitality is such a real thing.
Oh, yeah.
Got to live down there for a year of college, and I was saying yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, no ma'am. Like you have no choice but to become one with that hospitality that they bring, and I love it down there. Like I would live down there in the South maybe.
You're thinking about it already.
Yeah, I know I am, and I'm excited. It's interesting. I like Southern hospitality, but sticking on the topic, the New Jersey. Can we talk about food?
Please.
Can we talk about
Let's go
food
ahead.
for a minute? Because I would like to say on record that New Jersey has the greatest bagels on the planet.
Where, though?
Okay.
You got to get nuanced with the bagel conversation because there's going to be New Jerseyans who absolutely crucify us if we talk about just New Jersey as a whole with good bagels. I'm just trying to make sure you understand.
Yeah.
North Jersey.
North Jersey generally does have better bagels than
Yes.
South Jersey. Now, there are a few exceptions.
Past Freehold and beyond.
Yeah, so that 195
Yes.
east to west highway and above.
Yes.
Has-
And if you feel like your bagels are better than Freehold and beyond, I'm talking exit 8 for the people who know this in New Jersey. Exit 8 and up, you are going to get the best bagels. It's not close.
Yeah.
Like, there's not even a topic. Although we did go to Goldberg's Bagels. Shout out to Goldberg's Bagels. This is not an ad. We would love your ad space, though. Goldberg's Bagels is in North Jersey over in Emerson, and there's another place in New Jersey that I can't remember, but now they have one in South Jersey. And those were the best bagels in South Jersey, and that wasn't close because it tasted like a North Jersey bagel.
Yeah.
And there's a difference.
Yes,
What do
there
you
is.
think the difference is, though?
North Jersey bagels are certainly larger, fluffier,
Yeah, and it's
more
it's
well
gotta
put
be,
together.
But there's a key difference though, and they keep saying it, and it might not even be true. It's the water. It's the water, and I don't know what water it is.
It's
I
the
don't know.
water.
It's tap, but it's some tap that makes sense. It's got to be the North Jersey tap water, the New York tap water that's coming through. Now there's going to be a New York and New Jersey debate, and I hope it's in the comments.
I see.
You
The
need it
reason I
in the
brought up
comments.
bagels specifically was because I was watching a video came up on my YouTube the other day about Utopia Bagels. Shout out to them in New
Shout
York.
out to Utopia.
And what they do, they're still the old school style where they
Yeah.
got their own thing going and they hand roll them, which is cool. I want to go there. Never
If you're
been.
not hand rolling your bagels, I also don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, but everybody's about the quick and easy way. Nobody wants to
Listen.
hand roll anymore.
I don't know if there's another choice.
Yeah, well,
Doing it the right way, I don't know if there's another choice.
that's why nobody else does it the right way like we do. But I definitely want to go to Utopia Bagels because I saw
Yeah,
their
I
whole
think we
process.
gotta make a trip there.
So we'll bring.
Shout out to Action Bronson too. That's the first guy who I saw go to Utopia Bagels, and it's the one. It's truthfully the one.
Have you been there?
No, but I want to go.
Okay,
and
yeah.
because of him.
We need to go there because I watched the whole video on how they make their bagels, and now I'm a fan. So
Right.
if Utopia Bagels is watching, please let us know, and
yeah.
we're making a trip. But pizza. That's another hot topic about
Okay.
who has the best pizza. Who do you think has the best pizza in maybe outside of Italy because that's natural where it came from.
Well, I don't know if they have it either, because I think it's changed obviously over the course of time. But Dave Portnoy's already done his due diligence with the amount of pizza he's seen and the amount of pizza he's tasted. So, and his word, I think from the One Bite app, I would love to have a conversation with Dave about his journey with pizza and going to find different places. I don't think it's really much of a journey, but more people tell him where to go. He's a huge pizza guy. He does the work, and so I do believe the New Haven style pizza, which I've had prior to him even saying it, it was excellent. And it's true. It's true. But it also depends on what type of pizza you like, right? Like, I do love the thin crust, coal fire, like he talks about, good undercarriage, fresh ingredients, really good crust. That's the goal. I mean, I think, and that's a lot of what New Jersey is. I think New Jersey probably has the best pound for pound amount of places you can go that have good pizza. Like, you can pretty much go anywhere in New Jersey and find yourself like at least a 7.5. Like, it's really hard to find that at a lot of places.
Yeah.
That being said, I think New Haven takes it, to be honest.
Interesting. Before I state my favorite, can we agree that Chicago style is not good?
I'm actually a fan of Chicago
really?
style, to be honest.
Wow, I'm
actually
not.
a pretty big fan of Chicago style, too. And I guess the Chicago style that is not, I mean, I guess it's everybody's favorite. Like there's a couple big deep dish spots. I can't remember the names of them.
In New Jersey?
No, it's in Chicago. Some of the big deep dish spots, and they actually sold a lot of frozen ones over COVID, which were really, really good. Actually, one of my favorite styles is Detroit style pizza.
Have I ever had that? I don't know.
You need to try Detroit style pizza. One of the best places in the universe that have Detroit style, and I don't even know if they call it Detroit style in this place, but Emmy Squared. Have you been to Emmy Squared?
It's not ringing a bell, so
You
I want
gotta
to
go.
say no.
Go to Emmy Squared. There's one in Philadelphia. There's one in, I don't know if there's one in Jersey City, but there's one in New York. There's a ton in New York. There's a couple in New York now. And it is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. It's like square style in the pan. And you're seeing a lot more of that, too, like even in like frozen pizzas now.
Right.
There's a lot of the frozen, square, crispy pan pizza, but there's something about Detroit-style pizza that's unbelievable. Like,
I'm gonna have to try.
it's a winter thing.
'Cause
It's a fall-winter thing.
You're hyping it up a lot now, and I'm thinking about it.
But I don't know if you're that type, though. What type of pizzas are you into?
I don't know. I like the thin crust, like you
Okay.
said. I'm a big thin crust guy.
If you're from New Jersey, you don't like thin crust pizza. Like, I don't really know.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, I don't know. We're not really having a conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your opinion might be
Invalid.
diminished, but yeah, thin crust is my go-to.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm a thin crust guy. Yeah, I don't know. That's my go-to, and then I'll do the normal pizza that everybody else eats from your local shop.
Yeah. Right.
It's hard to put a stamp on what I like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it might be the pizza palette has grown for me over the course of time. I mean, it used to be the normal pizza. You get yourself, a plain slice, and it's plain. It's not cheese. I learned that from a good friend of mine.
Is that a conversation?
Yes, if you say cheese pizza,
I didn't know
you're from everywhere else except New Jersey, New York area.
Yeah, I didn't know
It's
people
a
even.
plain pizza.
I've never heard someone say, "Can I
Yeah,
get a
well, it
cheese
already has
pizza?"
cheese.
A plain.
It should.
A plain pizza comes with cheese.
Yes.
That's
so
non-negotiable.
it's not a cheese pizza.
No,
It's a plain pizza.
that's an outrageous statement to even have to say.
But I'm telling you, that's where if you go different places, they will say a cheese pizza.
That's
and they'll be like,
outrageous.
this is fine.
That makes me mad.
I get if you're saying you're getting into tomato pie. Different circumstance.
Different story.
situation. However, a normal pie, for the people listening, is a plain pie. Okay?
I hope they all got that.
I hope they got it. I mean, it's a plain pie. Like, what are we
talking about?
There is nothing really much to talk about.
Cheese is a non-negotiable on pizza. You do not say cheese pizza. Never heard that in my life, to be honest.
There. Okay, circumstantial pizza. Okay?
Hmm.
Now we're taking it there. Pizza party. What's the slices? What is the pies at a pizza party?
Okay.
You have 30 kids there. It's your 12th birthday, and it's rowdy in your backyard. You have a pool in your backyard. Your friend just came over. It's 7th grade.
Right.
Spring.
Okay.
Pizza's getting called for.
Okay.
25 plus kids.
Okay.
Everyone's got different palates. You're getting about like 5 pizzas.
Okay.
At least 5.
That was the question. How many pizzas are we getting?
Probably going to be 5 to 6. You could take down at 12 like at least 3 or 4 slices.
Yeah. Okay. We're doing 6. We're going 2 plain.
Okay.
Simple off the bat.
Have to.
We're going 1 pepperoni.
One pepperoni.
One pepperoni.
Pepperoni gets smoked.
No,
at
no,
parties
no,
like that.
no, no. One pepperoni is suffice.
Really?
I might circle back later.
Okay, so you have 3 pies to go.
I know. I might circle back to a pepperoni if I don't come up with something. But
Okay.
one.
Mind you, there's parents here too.
Okay. Yep. The parents are gonna eat up the plane. They're going plain all day.
Exactly. So that means the kids, they expand the palate here. There's going to be a kid here at this party who's never had something.
Right. But
And now you're going to teach them something.
Yeah, we're gonna give them buffalo chicken.
Okay.
So we're at 4. Got to go meat lovers. There's a lot of those out there.
Shout out to one of our guests. One of our guests is going to come on. Big Brennan Price, one of my clients, and huge meat lovers guy. We're gonna have him come on here and discuss meat lovers pizza.
Because the people that like meat lovers, they go at the meat lovers. They'll take down 4 slices on their own. They're psychopaths.
What is in your meat lovers pie?
That's a good question because I'm not one of them. I don't even eat meat lovers.
It's a lot. I used to eat it when I was young.
It's got everything.
My palate was all over the place when you're 14, between the ages of 12 to 16, you're trying things, but by the time you get to 18 to 21, you try things that are a little bit more, what would you call them, luxury if you can try them.
Right.
But usually you stay within inside of your palate.
Yeah.
So the Meat Lovers pizza that we used to get over at one of the pizza spots locally here was sausage and the crumbled up sausage, meatball, pepperoni, and bacon. It's a lot going on.
That's a lot going on, but the people that like it go at it.
They do.
So
my stomach can't handle it.
You have to tend to
Not these days.
No. Mine can't
That's
either.
brutal.
My stomach can't handle anything, but that's a story for another day.
That is another story.
It's another
we
story.
spoke about that a little earlier.
But
go ahead.
What am I at? I'm at 4.
There's 5 now.
I'm at
You
5.
got 2 plain, a pepperoni, a buffalo chicken, and meat lovers. You got 1 more to go.
I got 1 more to play with. That caters to everybody's palate. Buffalo chicken gets you a little spice.
Yeah.
Pepperoni also gets you a
But
little
kids
spice.
don't like spice at 12.
No, but they'll eat it. They'll eat it.
Yeah, but they're going to eat a half
No,
slice, and then they're
no.
going to put it down, and they're going to go back into the pool and throw up everywhere.
Hey, that's fine.
Which, that's a fake thing. Going into the
Digestion?
No, well, they say, yes, but when they say you can't go back into the pool after you ate for 30 minutes, that's fake. That is a fake
You'll
thing.
cramp up.
Yes, but it's fake.
I don't know.
Have you done that? Has that happened to you?
Cramp up?
You've never cramped up after you ate and went into a pool.
I've absolutely cramped up.
I don't believe anything you're saying right now.
Okay, but
You don't even believe what you're saying.
No, I absolutely do because our games of Sharks and Minnows got intense.
Yeah, I mean,
If you weren't cramping up, that was
you were an athlete.
That was a problem. But no, have you ever?
12, your little body couldn't. Your little body was fine.
It was swimming too fast for my body to handle, and I was
Well,
cramping up
I
bad.
couldn't swim even at that time too. So
But
maybe
okay,
that's a whole other
yeah.
conversation too.
Oh man, but last pie, I think I'm gonna circle back to the pepperoni because
So
nothing
you're
else.
going 2 pepperonis.
Nothing else is standing out in my head, and I think pepperoni is popular. People like it.
It is.
So I think I'm going 2 plain, 2 pepperoni, meat lovers, buffalo chicken. Final answer.
Now, what's gonna be getting smoked last? It's got to be the meat lovers.
It's got to be buffalo chicken. The last one to go.
White people love buffalo chicken though.
That's why I'm putting it on the list.
I love it. Y'all love buffalo chicken.
We'll put buffalo.
Shout out to all my white girls who love buffalo chicken dip.
They be eating like there's no tomorrow.
And all the moms who make buffalo chicken dip, you, subscribe. We love you guys.
That's why the buffalo chicken is on the list because there's an audience for it.
When's the first time you had buffalo chicken dip?
I want to say it was probably in the middle school era.
Okay.
When I was always at my friend Johnny's house. Shout out to Johnny. Still my best friend probably.
Okay.
Was most certainly my best friend growing up. Always at his house. I lived at his house, but that was probably the first time. His mom and his grandma, Merm. Shout out to Merm. She's a
Merm.
gem.
Okay.
But they made some outrageous dips, and I was always a picky eater, and they knew that, so they made me try all these things.
Mm-hmm.
So I tried their buffalo chicken dip.
That's where you lived for once, It was
Yeah.
You lived over there.
Well, I didn't have a
You just
choice.
slept at your own house.
Yes.
You
yes.
lived over there.
Oh,
though.
yeah.
You did things that you wouldn't do at your own home.
So this is crazy. We can because this was in my head to talk about, and we're still on the topic of pizza. We're kind of jumping all over the place,
I don't
but
mind.
there's a lot going on that I want to talk about. I was gonna bring up childhood and like what the ideal day of a childhood was,
Okay.
because I was thinking about it yesterday. I watched a video, didn't have anything to do with childhood, might I add, but I was like, man, if I can go back to the good old days, because when you're a kid, you're like, I want to grow up so I can get money and use my own money on things.
Sure.
Now I'm growing up. I'm like, I would kill to go back to those days where it was wake up at probably 9:30 on a
Yeah.
normal day, roll into a video game session real quick, then go eat breakfast, then go in the pool, then go on the trampoline, then
Now,
play.
what time are you talking about here, though? Are you talking about like summertime kid?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's
got it,
summer
got it,
break.
okay.
It's summer break. You're off school. You're living the life. You got no obligations.
Yeah.
Wake up, do all those things. That is what I lived for. And
Yeah.
I would trade a lot of things to go back and experience that again.
For sure.
It
I
was
would say
euphoric.
those were good times. Those were the times that you wish you had back, only because there was no obligation. There was no thought process of even an obligation. The only obligation you had was school, and you knew that you were counting down the days until summer was done to get to school. But like, there's nothing for me particularly. My favorite days were waking up at like noon.
Really?
I'm talking like noon. You had a baseball game at like 4. But in between that time, the Yankees are on at 1. You're eating breakfast at 1 o'clock. And then you hang out until 3 o'clock to go to your game. 4 o'clock you have the game. You smoke a team at like
Smoke them.
11 years old.
Smoke
You
'em.
annihilate this team. You come back, and then it's time to hang out with your friends because every day's Friday.
Every day is Friday.
Every single day's Friday, even on a Wednesday, a Tuesday. You're not doing anything. So like, that to me was like the ideal day of like even hanging out with friends. You didn't have a game that day. Maybe you didn't have a game that day. You woke up at like 11 or 12, and you go hang out with friends from like 2 o'clock to like 8. You smell like outside, and grass stains all over you. You're playing football. You're sweaty. You're on your bike just wheeling and dealing around the town. Like, that was fire.
Yeah.
That was fire time.
Our mentality, though, was you had to get up and use every minute you had of summer break. So there was no time to wake up at noon. We were up and out, getting ready to play our first
Yeah, but you
football
knew
game.
the days were longer, though. So, like, you knew, like, if you were going to go sleep over, like when I used to sleep over at some of the homies' house, like, we'd be up until, like, 1, 2 a.m. in the morning.
Well,
like,
yeah.
At the least.
Yeah, I don't know.
Rainbow Six Vegas.
We
Shout out to
abs-
Tommy and Johnny for Rainbow Six Vegas. Lots of COD, lots of FIFA, lots of NHL, lots of MLB The Show.
You can't
That's your
beat
day.
it. Yeah, video games,
Halo.
wiffle ball, backyard football,
Yep.
and then manhunt at night. I'll take it every time.
Mad mosquito bites.
Oh my God, there were woods.
But you went through it. You just
Yeah.
went through it.
It's where you build character, but
Yeah, they don't build that character anymore, man. These kids are in the crib, bro.
they are in the
Kids
crib.
are inside.
Got it all
And-
on their phone.
Yeah, that's why they're just not that. What would you call it? They're not eager. They're not eager to do certain things outside. They're not eager to be in the mix with each other because they know that they can just call each other. And there's something to be said about that too. Like, even in relationships, we talked about that the other day. Like, you don't miss anybody. So like, why would a kid who sees his friend in school, that's like their fix. Like, they got it already. They saw him in school. They don't want to know that much more about them unless it's like they're doing something that's going to get them out of bed, so, quote unquote, I guess. Like, and it's not always, and especially because they're getting them online too for video games, and that's where like they really interact. Like
Yeah.
that's the going outside now, is going on your headset to go play video games, and at least you're still with your friend. You still get to hear their voice. It's just not together, but you're together like in a weird way.
Yeah, I mean they're there. They're just not present.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, so it's a different generation. It'll be interesting to see like what they unfold and become when they grow up and become 21, 22. Like what's the scene gonna look like for going out and like having fun and doing all these things because they're not doing it now. So like their 2021 age is going to be them figuring out what going out is like.
100%.
So that's going to be interesting. It's an interesting dynamic.
I'm actually going to try and get one of my friends on here. She's a therapist, and I want to talk to her about. She actually has a really, really good worldview, and she's pretty opinionated on certain things. But I love it about her because she's smart about where kids are at these days, and because she works with kids, she works with child therapy, and she does a really good job on helping me understand it. And I ask those questions too, and there's always like a really intellectual answer on something that I think is pretty simple.
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more nuanced, so I want to get her on here one day.
That'll be interesting. I'm excited for that.
Yeah.
I'm excited to get people on that know more than me because there's a lot of people that know a lot more than me.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that know more than both of us, and I want to get them on here to talk about their particular situation and how it kind of applies to the world too. So we've got some pretty interesting guests lined up. So I want to continue to keep adding some things into the conversation. If you guys have anything in the comments too, talk to us about what you guys want to hear. We're down to talk about pretty much anything. So.
I'll talk about anything.
Anything.
And this next one I got coming at you is out there.
Okay.
There was I think it was last week or the week before, the Mexican government or whoever of Mexican officials down in Mexico unveiled an alien in that they had in their possession.
Yeah.
Okay, first off, I refuse to believe that aliens are going to look exactly how we depict them to look in movies.
Yeah.
Like, did you see the alien they showed?
It's fake.
It's straight out of a movie
Completely
that we would
fake.
make.
I don't believe it. It all seems kind of goofy to me.
But do you believe? Okay.
I believe aliens are real.
Oh yeah, I was gonna.
But I believe that the one that they found was not real.
That one's absolutely not an
That's
alien.
a fake alien.
That's a dude. That's a kid could have made that.
Yeah. No, I'm not rolling with that at all.
Not rolling with that one. But so okay, here's my pitch.
Okay.
There's an alien invasion.
Okay.
They come visit us on Earth.
Sure.
We have to send 1 to 3.
Why does it have to be an invasion though?
Okay, by invasion I mean they visit us.
Got it.
They're visiting us.
Visitation.
To see, yes.
If you will.
They're seeing what's popping on Earth.
Okay.
I wouldn't recommend it in today's day and age. I would say they should stay away.
Okay.
But we have to send I'll give you 3 people, 1 to 3 people to greet them and either assert our dominance over them or make them like us.
Okay.
Here's my pitch. I'll give you mine so you can think about yours.
Okay.
I'm giving them John Jones
Okay.
and Sydney Sweeney.
John Jones, Sydney Sweeney, only 2 people?
I'm just giving them 2. That's all we need.
Okay.
John Jones.
Explain.
We know John Jones. Everybody here knows John Jones. He'll let them know who's the top dog in this situation.
Okay.
And if they don't agree, John Jones is going to catch about 100 alien bodies. Just give John a line of cocaine, and we're good.
Yeah, no, I think he'll definitely they'll get him riled up, and I think he'll do his day. He'll do some damage.
And Sydney Sweeney's there just to show that we have the most attractive beings in the universe, simply put.
Okay.
Those
I
are
like
the 2.
that.
That's
I like
my
that.
That's it. That's all we got.
I like that a lot. Is there another series? Is there another season of Euphoria coming out? Are you a Euphoria guy?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
It is right up your alley.
It is. And it's crazy because I didn't know about it until I was at college, and I walked into my buddy's dorm room, and literally all of them were just sitting there.
Glued.
Just glued. I'm
Yeah.
like, what are you guys watching? They're like, Euphoria, come watch. And next thing I know, I'm glued.
It's wild. It's a wild thing. I am glued as well. The last season was a little interesting. We had a couple watch parties with some of my friends. It was the first season was excellent. Though.
It was excellent.
That first season was unbelievable.
But, okay, so side note.
Okay.
I'm terrible with names,
Sure.
and I really feel bad about this one. But who is the guy that passed? Rest in peace.
Angus Cloud.
Rest in peace to Angus Cloud.
Yes, Angus Cloud, man.
Rest
in peace
I
to
don't.
him.
I didn't look too deep into it, so I don't
Thoughts
know.
and prayers to
I don't
his
know what
family.
happened, but all prayers to him.
Yeah, I don't even want to speak on it because I don't know all the information. So we'll see what happens. I mean, I hope that his family's okay, and I hope that he's in a better place wherever he needs to be, man. Because that's a tough thing.
That was a
That's
tough one.
thing.
That was a tough one to see because Euphoria was great, and that's how I kind of knew him.
Yeah, I mean he was just on the rise too. I forget his age, but he's in his mid-20s. He wasn't old, and I don't know what it is. I'm not going to speculate.
No, me neither.
But I want him to be. I hope that everything's okay with his family, and I hope that they feel they're continuing to recover from it because it's no good. But to answer your alien question,
Yeah, back to the aliens.
I've got 3.
Okay.
I'm gonna send two men and a woman. I would send Aaron Rodgers. Okay. I would send Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Actually, sounds 4 people. I'll send Deion Sanders. And I would send Taylor Swift.
I'm going to need a lot of explanation on why you're sending these
Where
people.
do I start? Which one?
Just start Aaron Rodgers. I think,
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers is pretty self-explanatory, but
I think you can understand why Aaron
Yeah, I
Rodgers
can
would do it.
understand.
But I also think that Aaron Rodgers doesn't get credit for being a nicer guy than he is. A nice enough guy. I think he's a really good dude. I think he's probably in his situation in Green Bay was a little bit different. I think it was a long relationship that he was in, and I think it was just done. I think 18 years in one place. You go through a lot. You go through a lot with somebody in 18 years, and I think with an organization, obviously, they went into a different direction. I don't think he was playing as well either, so it was time for him to go, and I think the relationship was kind of just strained. So, but I do think that he's a nice guy. I think that he's a smart guy. He's very intellectual, and I think that he could keep them not only in check, but he could learn some things. They could learn some things from him. I think the aliens would be like, yeah, I'm good to talk to Aaron Rodgers.
What's your strategy for the alien? Are you looking to make peace with them and become friends?
I don't know why we wouldn't.
I mean, yeah, but
What's our gain if we don't know what they actually are to us though. We don't know if they're bad people. We don't know if they're bad or good. And so optimistically, I'm hoping that they're good and they can help us with stuff.
that'd be nice.
That'd be incredible. Why wouldn't we try to be optimistic with them?
Yeah, no, I see your point.
It's gotta be something. Like we
Yeah.
can't just think all of a sudden if they come here then it's done, because then that's like kind of soon.
Well, yeah.
I'm trying to stick around.
Well,
for
apparently
like
they're already here, according to the Mexican government.
Well, according to them, they're already here. So if that means they're already here, we gotta get somebody who's good enough to talk to them. And I think Rodgers can get it done.
Yeah, he would bring a perspective.
He's
to
got to
them.
get the gap. I think he can chat.
Who was
So,
your next one?
The
Rock?
The Rock. I think The Rock would be good. I think The Rock would, assert some dominance over them. I don't know if there's many guys bigger. I don't know if there's many aliens that will be bigger than him, but we also don't know the size of these aliens either. And if it is the same one, the size of the Mexican alien, then I think we're in good shape.
We're good.
I think he'd get them in the weight room. I think he'd figure out a way to get them signed to Under Armour. And from there, we'd get some good-looking aliens, essentially, Maybe some tattooed Samoan aliens.
Yeah, get some the Samoan sleeve going.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I mean, we don't know what they're going to be, so that's huge. Deion Sanders, motivational guy. He might get some aliens come down who are physically imposing, and might be able to get them to start getting on the field. Who
Sure.
knows?
We got
Who knows?
the Alien Football
But he
League.
can tell them what it is. I think he's a really honest guy, so I think he can come up with something fascinating to say. And I mean, if you aren't driven by anything that Deion Sanders says in a pregame or postgame speech, then I don't know if you have a pulse. So
Are you breathing?
yeah, you literally are not a human person.
You are an alien.
Yeah, you actually might be an alien if what Deion Sanders says in his pregame and postgame stuff, press conferences and speeches are not moving you. He's unbelievable to me.
Yeah, he is.
And Taylor Swift, I think musically she's great. I think she's really nice. I think Taylor Swift probably will greet them properly. I think she'd say hey, come to my concert. I make some pretty good music, and if you want to hear what music sounds like, listen to me. And I think they get behind it.
That's a good lineup. Yeah.
We're trying to be nice to these people.
I-
man. We don't know what they are.
I
So
wasn't trying to be
I'm not
nice.
trying to come out of them pessimistically because we don't really know what's happening.
I figured if they're showing up, we might as well show them who's boss. Give them John. Give them Sidney Sweeney. Tell them to.
But what if they're
F
coming
off.
with open arms and they're like, we want to help you guys because we've seen some things.
I'm not as optimistic, I don't think, as you. Why else would they be coming here? I don't think they want to make peace with us.
Why not?
We have nukes.
Yeah, but we don't know what they have either.
Well, if they're traveling to Earth, they probably got a lot more than we do.
That's what
But-
I'm saying.
So, I don't know. I just don't think they're here to make peace. I think they're in for trying to take over the earth.
Yeah, I guess. I guess I gotta think optimistically though about people who are trying to take over the earth potentially. Because what if we're like a part of it? Like, what if we could help them and be like,
If they can
down to
take
help.
me to another galaxy, I'm in. Sign me up.
That's fair.
But yeah. So that was my spiel on aliens.
I like it. I like it. I
I
like your
thought of
3.
it because of the.
Well, your 2.
Yeah, I mean, maybe throw Joe Rogan in there just because it's Joe Rogan.
I think, but see, why would you get Joe Rogan though?
He's a fun guy. He'll.
So you want the fun guy?
Yeah, I mean,
Somebody's got to keep this thing light.
So say we send him John and Sydney Sweeney, and they're nice. Then John is a nice guy.
So it works. It works
generally. Sydney Sweeney's.
I think Joe
probably
says. I think Joe says some things that I wish he could have back, but I don't know if he needs it on his platform.
No, he doesn't. He says he knows what he's saying is going to a lot of people, and he understands that. They already tried to cancel him for some things, and he's like
he's almost bulletproof in so many different ways, man.
Speaking of Joe Rogan, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you see? I saw on Twitter there was a a survey done, and one of the top red flags for women nowadays is men who watch Joe Rogan.
Really?
I
could see that.
I think it was the top one actually.
Well, I think there's two sides of it, right? So I think that there's men who listen to his message and make it their personality trait, and there's women who think that just because you watch him, it's a part of your personality trait. And in some ways, I believe both sides. I could see both sides. I've met people who are on both sides, and it's crazy that one guy can do that to somebody, though. And same thing like Jordan Peterson. Like if you listen to Jordan Peterson, if you know people who are interested in Jordan Peterson, they believe that his potential radical messages are the ones that are making you feel a certain way. When I listen to all of them, I listen to all those guys.
Me too.
But like we've talked about in the past, like I listen to these guys for information.
Yeah.
And I don't necessarily care if they're right or wrong. It just helps expand the knowledge of whatever they're talking about. And I just think it's really interesting. Like, I listen to Joe Budden, Max Kellerman, Stephen A., Pat McAfee, to Jordan Peterson, to Joe Rogan, to Ari Melber, to Ari Shafir, like, are you garbage guys? So, like, I'm just listening to a ton of different content that's coming from all different walks of life. So, Flagrant, Akash Singh, to Mark Gagnon, to Tom Segura and Bert Kreischer, like, Bobby Lee. I'm just listening to interesting stuff, like, stuff that they're talking to people that I think could be fascinating or are people that I don't like, and I want to hear their topics or opinions on different things. And so if you can hear that, you're in a good spot.
Yeah, I mean, if you boil it down, most of these people, at least like just specifically Joe Rogan and Jordan Peterson, because those are kind of the biggest public figures in the podcasting world that talk a lot, I think their intent for the most part is positive. They're just trying to make, at least for the men, because Joe Rogan and Jordan are usually pointed towards the men and what we could do better.
I agree.
So I can't speak for the women, but their goal is to make us more well-rounded and better men.
Did you see the woman Dana Chanel? Do you know her?
Dana Chanel. What does she look like?
Dana Chanel and her husband, it's got Prince O'Donnell. They're from Philadelphia, and they have a couple of different podcasts. They have one, or they're on Instagram in some regard. I'm not sure if it's a podcast, but I know that she has a self-wealth or a self-improvement podcast or like subscriptions on her website / Instagram / other platforms. And it was something where she was doing some self-improvement coaching to women. And I can't fully quote the article, but one of our marketing directors sent this to us. And it was she owes the people who signed up for her self-improvement coaching $80,000 because she didn't fulfill her obligation to it. And I thought that was interesting because I feel like so much of the content that's out there now is for free that you could just get free game from, like Jocko Willink, to the Jordan Petersons, to the Joe Rogans, to the Andrew Hubermans, to the Ed Milet, you know, Cardone, I'm sorry, people in the space that it's funny. It's hard to get that content from everybody because those guys are anomalies in their profession. I think people think it's just very easy to get where they got to because they're just giving the information, but it's actually really difficult. Like, it's actually extremely difficult to become those guys who are $100 million men to $500 million men to billionaires. Like, there are tons of things that have to happen right. So I think the people below that who are trying to give that advice, who can't fulfill that obligation, it becomes really difficult for them to like sustain that amount of fame or sustain that product that they're trying to give. Like $80,000 in debt to people is a lot of debt. And like that's not even what, like, imagine the people who are giving out coaching to hundreds of thousands of people online. Like, look at how much you have to sustain that level of excellence. And so it's interesting. My question to you would be, are there women in podcasting or in the space of self-improvement, self-motivation who are also helping women? I don't know those people. I think my content is too curated for male content. But is there a woman who is galvanizing like a pack of people?
I'm really trying to
or
think.
A big group at least. Like,
off the top of my head, because mine is also catered towards men generally, so I can't say that there definitely is. I'm sure there is with the amount of reach and the amount of podcasts that there are nowadays. I'm sure just one click of women self-improvement or women, like anything like that in the podcast on Spotify, you'll find something. And you'll find someone that is very intent on making you a better woman.
And yes, obviously, yes. I believe that you could look up anything and you'll find it. Like,
right.
I guess my question is there a woman right now in podcasting who's galvanizing, and not only galvanizing but polarizing? I guess polarizing is the word, where like whether you like Jordan Peterson or not, he's a polarizing figure, right? He's somebody who makes you have to stop what you're doing and listen to potentially what he's going to say. Like, and that's not an easy thing to see, especially with his opinions are pretty radical in some ways, but also pretty conservative in a lot of other ways too, like an Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate, whether you like him or not, whether you like the things he stands for or not, whether you understand or you believe the things that he's done, some of the messages that he's saying aren't bad messages.
No.
Objectively not bad messages. So it's interesting. Is there a woman who's the similar person? And I think it's probably the woman, Pearl.
The whole time
Pearl's
you were
similar
talking,
in that way too, yeah.
Pearl is very polarizing in that she is sick of the OnlyFans women. She is sick of that generation of women that do those types of things. And she wants the old school wife and husband kind of narrative that you want to be. And she's very polarizing in that she wants it that way. And she doesn't really even cater to the OnlyFans side. Like, she'll go on and talk to these girls that do the OnlyFans and do that stuff, but she'll never change her ways, at least by the looks of it. She's very in her way. This is what it should be, and I'll die on that hill.
Yeah, I think she's trying to push her agenda to a degree, which not necessarily push in a way where like you have to do it this way, but she's going to tell you what she feels. She's going to tell you that I don't like that, or that's not going to, even like the law of percentages, like that's not going to be a good way to live. And so it's interesting, I think. But when women listen to, I think, self-motivation or from people who are radical, like I think when guys hear a person like an Andrew Tate or a Jordan Peterson say, you got to start working out if you're a man so you can get yourself in shape, do all these different things because you are fat, ugly, and lazy. And men, I think, take that not only to heart, but then they start trying to execute. Not all of them, but like I think guys who listen to the message and want to get better at something will say, yeah, you're probably not wrong. Like I should start doing that. And then they start doing it and they feel a little bit better about themselves. I think when women, if they were to hear that, they would think that woman doesn't know what she's talking about, which is sometimes I think where the lack of improvement in certain areas of women do come in. on the particular side of self-improvement. Like, who are you getting your message from? And that matters to them. That matters to people. Is like, you have to feel an attachment to that thing, wherever you're getting your message from, and that's kind of tough.
So here are my thoughts on it.
Sure.
And I could be completely wrong.
We could both be wrong.
Please let me know if I'm just off the ball completely. But
in the comments.
From my perspective, there's a lot more self-improvement on the men's side with the Andrew Tates and Jordan Petersons that try and get that message of you should be powerful, you should be a strong man, than there are women saying you should be a strong woman, do this, do that, exercise, whatnot. Women also listen. Music comes into a lot of this, in my opinion, with the Megan Thee Stallions and the Cardi B's and their messages for the women saying you should, shake your whatever and do this and do that. And I think women listen to that type of music, which affects their perception on reality. And you could say the same thing on the men's side with the rapper saying you should be a thug and go wield your gun and do whatever, do drugs, do all that. But there's just a wildly vast difference in the amount of men's self-improvement people than there are women's, which is why I think the music has a much more effective effect.
A larger impact.
A larger impact on the women, hearing that they should do those things rather than exercise, and what Pearl is kind of promoting in Be a Powerful Woman or do your role. I don't know what her message actually is.
She's interested in women standing up for themselves, but also being submissive to a man to help understand parts of what men are looking for in a woman, as opposed to women trying to take on masculine roles, which in a lot of ways I agree with, and in a lot of ways I don't. It depends on how you grew up, depends on your childhood, depends on how what you saw from your parents and the way that the dynamic was, right? Like my dad passed away when I was 12 years old. So my mom took on masculine roles because she had to. So what else would she going to do? You know what I mean? So that part of it, but then for me, as I grew up, I only had older brothers. So, and I had uncles and people in my life to help us get there, but they only took you so far, right? There's a lot of things that I had to learn on my own. There's a lot of mistakes I made because I was on my own, right? So in that way, if you have a situation where you have you have two parents at home, somebody's got to take on one role and somebody's got to be the other. It's hard for you to have two masculine roles who are, your mom can't have the masculine role and your dad can't have the masculine role together. Right. Now it's just you're getting bombarded as a human being with the same ideology that now you can't get two sides of a coin, right? And so that becomes pretty difficult as a person. But you also have to raise people differently too, right? You and your brother. You didn't have a sister, so same thing for me. If I had a sister, I probably would have had a different outlook on women, friends, respect, and I would have learned some of those things at an earlier age as opposed to learning it on the fly. So. I think that, but I also think that women would rather learn those things, and that's why I think, when your marriage is interesting at this point in our lives now, being in relationships is interesting now, and it doesn't have the same, I guess, weight it used to hold. And I understand that for myself included. You almost have you have a relationship with yourself, you have a relationship with somebody else, and then you have a relationship with that relationship, right? It's interesting. You look at yourself in the relationship, you look at your person in the relationship, and then you look at the relationship that you're in the relationship. And it's very interesting. You look at it from 4 or 5 different views, and you have to decide what all makes sense for you.
Yeah, it's a balancing act, and it's tough nowadays, especially with everything going on. There's a lot in my head that I could go and which direction I want to go.
Go in any direction.
I don't know which direction. This kind of leads towards what I was going to bring up later or earlier, but it just so happens that it kind of leads into now. And partially the self-improvement aspect of life. And being a strong, powerful man that, nowadays I think you should be. I'm along the lines of you should be a strong, powerful man well versed in a lot of different aspects.
Sure.
And be able to provide on your own if you need.
What aspects specifically you think?
At least for me, I guess this goes back to being, well, last episode we talked about being weird and how everybody's weird in their own way.
Yeah.
I think my weird, if you want to call it, is trying so hard to be well-rounded as a person that, so here's what I break it down to. I break it down to combat, hand-to-hand combat, marksmanship. This all goes into the combat. Marksmanship, combat, hand-to-hand combat, pause. Hand-to-hand combat, marksmanship, survival, those three kind of group together, being able to survive. Then you go the intelligence aspect of being able to understand things, being smart. There was a third one, and it's losing
So
me.
you're giving me branches and then sub-branches.
Yes, so I'm giving you
So
branches.
You're giving me like a genre and sub-genres, okay.
And I lost my third one, but there's a third one in there that I'm losing, and I wish I remembered it. But it's just the fact that I think you should be as well-rounded as a human being as possible for any case, because I think people are kind of in their own lanes and they don't take into account that a lot of other things can happen. Like if the internet were to fall off the face of the earth tomorrow, how many people are not going to be able to survive?
Yeah, I agree.
See, I'm a little all over the place.
It's interesting though. Like to kind of give you some pushback on some of that too is like, it's hard to say that. No, I won't say that. It's not hard to say what you're saying. I agree with what you're saying. I think what's difficult about that for the average person is surviving doesn't always equate to combat and marksmanship and things like that. Surviving to like the average person is, do I have enough money to live? Right? And so in your case, I would say men to survive would need to be able to know how to fight, to be able to like essentially fend for themselves in situations that are not ideal, right? And you don't know what those ideal situations may or may not be, which could be, it could be a minimum wage job, or it could be a 3-person brawl in an alley, right? Like all of those things still mean that you need to survive, but in different forms of your life, different parts of your life. Because the average time, you don't need to necessarily fight. You're not trying to fight. You might fight 1% of your life, right? Which maybe less than 1% of your life, and that's kind of a lot. Like you must have gotten into hundreds of fights in your 1% of your life if you're surviving in that way. But I understand what you're saying. It's like looking at the world as if like it's against you to some degree, like, and you have to be able to battle within that. So that's true.
Yeah, my thoughts went everywhere because there was a lot I wanted to say. So
it's nuanced.
It
It's
didn't come
100%
out.
nuanced.
It didn't come out how I wish I could explain it, but it's hard. I'm having trouble trying to put words onto how I feel about the subject.
Sure.
I just think that us as men should be able to defend for ourselves, survive for ourselves, and provide for at least one other person should the case come up. So I should be able to go out and fight another man with confidence if I had to for, say, a woman by my side.
Sure.
I think that's a non-negotiable to be a strong man in everybody's eyes.
Yeah.
It honestly comes down to respect.
Yeah.
I want to be respected. I don't want to have to fight people, but I think you should at least be able to defend your people should the situation come up.
Yes. I just think that when you say that, you're talking about one specific area of life. Because I think respect comes in many forms, right? Respect comes in how someone treats you, what people say to you, how people perceive the way you look at the rest of the universe and the respect they have in that. I think it also comes into your level of notoriety in some degree. And I think it's the way that you carry yourself in different ways, right? So like when you can have respect in one area but lack respect in another, right? Like I think I have respect in the industry I'm in, but I have to earn more, right? But I also think I have a lot of respect in the performance and training area of baseball, right? Like specifically me, like there's not many people I don't know in between New Jersey, New York, and Pennsylvania when it comes to my personal region of where I exist in the landscape, right? Like in baseball specifically and performance training, like I could probably get into any facility that I need to go to with bringing a resume, helping people understand how many kids I put into college, how many kids I've trained to get to a high level. But that's because I worked at it. And so you have to gain that respect that way. But if I were just to say, I want to start becoming Joe Rogan, and I go to Joe Rogan and say, I want to be a part of a network that you start, well, we wouldn't have enough respect, right? We'd have respect because of things we've done outside of it. He could say that you've built something and you've gotten better at it, right? The fact that you're in jiu-jitsu right now and you're learning to become a black belt, well, once you get there, or at least the process of you obtaining a belt already shows that you have respect because you've done something that others haven't, right? So in a lot of ways, respect comes in with over the course of time, and to earn it, you have to show you're serious about something, right? You could be at the bottom of the totem pole and have a ton of respect if you're showing that you're trying to climb it. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
I think that part of it is what I think people struggle with, and it's funny. One of my friends was telling me that in school right now for kids, the difference between us and them is that we already had the respect for someone we didn't know, which is a teacher. Right? The teacher you never met before, who was, when you were 14 years old, you looked at them like, if I do something wrong in here, I'm going to get in trouble. So they already have your respect. Now kids now are saying, no, that teacher finally respects me. And that, I like this teacher because they have it's a mutual respect for each other. It's like, well, no, they don't need to have there's no mutual anything. And when I was growing up, in 2008,
right,
there was a mutual respect for my teacher. The teacher didn't have to respect me, and I had to respect them.
Yeah.
Right? Now, it works in their favor if they respect me, because now they have a real working relationship. But, like, if my teacher was a jerk, and I said to them, like, I don't want to do this work, then I'm failing.
Yep.
And it's not their fault, it's mine. So it's just a different viewpoint of, like, how that comes together, and respect's interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah. And I guess my main point in this whole matter is strive to be as well-rounded and as physically, emotionally, and intelligently as capable as you can be.
Yes. For
any situation that may arise where things go wrong, because things do go wrong in every form, and strive to improve and be the best you can be, and gain the respect along the way.
Well, one thing that's part of it too, when a lot of people talk about suffering and learning to go through things that maybe are uncomfortable, so you can gain that type of respect, right? Like, I think when people see that you're going to be a black belt, they're going to say, oh, like, you went through that process. Now I respect that, And so being able to go through some of those things and go through the things of, financially, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, strength. You want to build the strength of that and be rock solid in all of those areas. In order to do that, you have to go through some stuff. You have to go through suffering. You got to have those experiences, and that's why I even tell you when we talked about some of the things you're doing for school, like, go do it. Like, go experience that, because it's going to help you build to that process probably sooner than others, right? When you stay home locally, it's hard for you to. It's not that you can't go through some of those things, but it's harder because a lot of the resources you have are already there for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, you're not having to fend for new resources. The new resources will be there because somebody will just, like, give it to you, right? Hey, I need to go to this new gym, and right now, because my gym I had closed. Okay, well, here, you go to this place because my friend already goes there, and your friend may already go there, right? So you don't have to go and find something new. Like, if you go to the place you're trying to go to, I won't say it on here, but, like, if you go to the place you're going to go to, you're going to have to find a new life.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
completely.
You're going to have to really change the way you live, down to the food you eat, to the time in which you eat, to the friends you make, to the places you go, to the explaining your whole story again. And so that in itself makes it a little bit more challenging over the course of time, but that's why you do it, though.
Yeah.
And then when you come back, you can earn more of that respect because people will say to you, oh, what was your last year like? Oh, man, my last year was insane. But I went through this, so you almost have to respect me. And I'm here now again.
Yeah.
Right? So I made it through. I finished that task. I finished that mission. And so you almost have no choice but to respect the way I am. Right? And so people will definitely gravitate to that more.
Yeah, it's interesting. One of Jocko's main points in his whole brand and his whole thing is to suffer as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah.
Because as long as you come out on the other side, you'll be a lot better than when you went in.
Oh yeah, yeah. And those are, I told one of my friends who's going to be on the podcast, Brennan, like I said to him before, I think he's done a lot of what people haven't done because of his ability to go from being a pitcher in single A ball to then going to be a hitter in independent baseball. And that in itself is one of the hardest things you could possibly do in sports, is to say, I'm going to pitch and then I'm going to go hit. And you see a guy like a Shohei Ohtani who's doing it, and it's not simple. So now the fact that he's able to do it on two separate stages at a professional level, he's a 1%er. But I told him, I want you to believe in that. Like, look at yourself as that person, though. Don't just look at yourself as what you did as like an accomplishment of, oh, and that's done now. You have to live your life that way. Like, live your life as a 1%er.
Yeah.
Right? Like, when I do strength training, personal training, baseball training, mental skills training, I'm a 1%er in this. Like, that's why I'm valuable. It's not because I do these things all pretty good. I do all these things extremely well. So, but that's how I live it, right? And so that's where, like, when we come up with ideas for stuff or we go different places, it's and you even hear the way my brain works, right? Like, the way my brain works is it's not that we're not going to do it. It's just a matter of when and how we're going to do it. And so, and that to some people could feel pretty overwhelming. They're like, oh, you think we're going to do this? Like, that's going to take a long time.
Yeah.
It's like, of course it's going to take time. Like, why wouldn't it take time? But we have to want to get to that level. So, like, why aren't we going to talk about it, right? Why aren't we going to put it into the universe? You know how many things get put into the universe that – I was watching the Commanders versus the Broncos yesterday, and I do not like watching Russell Wilson play. I don't like Sean Payton. And I put into the universe, man, I hope they lose. I really hope they lose. The Jets just lost, and I need to pick me up right now. And I spoke it into existence, and they lost. Now, they got close. They scored the touchdown on a ball that should have been batted down. But I said, no, they're still going to lose, like, because I already put it out there. It's out there in the universe.
Yeah.
What did they do? It's like 2-point conversion. It was 35-33. They needed it, and they didn't get it. So you could speak things into existence the wrong way, or you can speak it into existence the right way.
Yeah.
And so that's where, like, the positivity kind of thing comes into. I do think men need to have positivity. It doesn't necessarily need to be outward. Like, you don't need to tell people how positive you are in certain areas, because sometimes that intimidates people. It's like, you're positive about everything. Like, there's no way this can all happen for you.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that's how we kind of have to think.
Yeah.
Why aren't you thinking positively?
Right.
But I could see it because some people have had situations that have gone on in their lives where they're like, man, this kind of sucks. Like, I'm going to not be successful in this because the odds are not in my favor. So, well, the odds are always in your favor if you're still here.
Yeah.
Right? So
that's a big thing that I've noticed hanging around you a lot now, is your belief in everything is impenetrable.
You're not going to get me to think negative.
Yeah, no matter what I bring to the table for you, a new idea, whatever it may be, it's always, what can we do to get it done? Not, no, this isn't possible.
Yeah, no, I don't think in not possible stuff.
Yeah,
like,
and
I don't even want people around me who think in not possible, because now you're inadvertently against me.
Yeah, and it's already changed the way I think drastically, because now I'm thinking more impossible things are much more possible.
Yeah.
And now it's becoming more possible because instead of thinking it's not, I'm actively working towards making it possible.
Yeah, and it might not happen. It might not happen tomorrow.
No.
It's not like things might not happen as quickly as you want them to. But that's where you goal set. That's where you plan. Like if you plan stuff and say, all right, if we say to ourselves, the next 2 years we want to be at a UFC event and you want to interview Dana White. And you want to interview him, you want to interview Izzy Adesanya, and you want to get some of the best guys in the universe, people in the universe, on this podcast. Well, you have to put yourself in a position. You can't just say it's not going to happen because you're where you're at now. Like, you have to figure out a way. So, like, one of the things I want to do with one of my friends who, there's some things that we're doing pretty soon in the wine world. And I'm a huge wine guy. I love it. I'm obsessed with it. It's one of my favorite processes. All those type of things. Well, and we have in our 5-year plan to be at the Eiffel Tower doing a party. How are we going to do that? I don't know how we're going to do it yet, but we're going to do it.
We're going to get there.
It's going to happen, and we have a plan that's like kind of it's a loose plan right now, but we've got things like that we're trying to do among bigger things, and it's like, well, you can't not try to think positively just because in the right now you can't see it yet. Like, you have to keep building the steps in order to get there, right? So we want ads on this thing. We want to try and get there, and we want to start building this thing to where you can get paid to do this right. Well, we just went to one place, and I talked to them about it. And I said, this makes a lot of sense. I think we're getting the views up. Reels are going. They're like, yeah, I'm in. So that's a step, right? It might be 100 steps. It might be 300 steps. But you got to start knocking them off.
Yeah.
And so if you don't think that way, you're going to start getting frazzled, and you're going to start deterring yourself from the goal because you're like, well, that's hard.
Yeah,
well, yeah,
that's hard.
Of course it is. Like, it's all hard. It's not easy. It wasn't supposed to be easy.
One step isn't hard, but a million are.
The easy thing is doing this.
Yeah.
The easy thing is just having the conversation. The easy thing is putting these things together to be able to say, all right, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
But
that we went off on a tangent there.
That was a tangent, but that I think is built into the respect conversation.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
The respect conversation comes down to, are you able to accommodate yourself with the basic necessities and love life, which is mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually, be there, be ready, available, present, all those things, and strengthen your soul, heart, mind, everything. And that's what I even preach to players. I preach that to athletes.
Yeah. Yeah, that was good. Staying positive, positivity is the main
Dude, it's
point.
literally everything. Like, if you do not stay positive, especially in the professions we're into, like, you're trying to be a fighter, bro. Like, if you're trying to be a fighter, like,
no, yeah,
and if you don't believe that you're going to get there, like, because I think mental health also has to do with, like, believing in yourself, and you have to have your own set of, like, mental health rules. Like, I'm not going to let this phase me. But you also you actually can get help and become bulletproof, like, mentally as an athlete, which is like what Kyle does, Kyle and Amanda, like on EME, which I'm gonna get them to add. To do
we
an
need
ad
them
on.
on.
Too. We're gonna get them on, and we're gonna do an ad for them as well,
Yeah.
because I think that they're legit and they do really, really good stuff with their stuff. So, but that being said, like, they're so good at what they do, but they can literally help an athlete who's already good become bulletproof. Like, you're like you said, impenetrable. Like, your brain will not be. Nobody's gonna rattle you.
And once you're bulletproof with no negativity, not saying the negativity doesn't come through, but being able to filter it out and having that belief in yourself, then the sky's the limit as far as performance goes. It's a matter of physically how do you perform, because mentally you got all the tools.
Oh yeah.
But overall, be positive, be bulletproof.
Be positive, be a good person, be bulletproof. Don't let things rattle you. If you have a tough job, don't let it rattle you. Go get a new one. If you feel like your relationship isn't great, don't let it rattle you. Just continue to work things out, right? Go talk to people. Go talk to do the best thing you can for yourself outside of it, because if you're not good by yourself, you're not going to be good in a relationship.
Strive to be great. Be a 1%er. I'm taking that with me. Be a 1%er.
1%er.
That's a new one I haven't heard.
Be a 1%er, man. Do the things that other people aren't.
Yeah.
Right? Like, figure out a way to be valuable in everything you're doing, right? Because bring value, go make your boss money so that you can make more money, and figure out ways to help other people be successful at what they're doing. Because when it comes to success, man, it takes a village. Like, you're going to see that along the way in your career. It's like, it takes a lot of people. That's why I'm always trying to get more people involved in the right things, right? Some people are vultures and want to take a lot of things from you because they feel like their value is higher than yours. But as long as you can find what their value is and how you can utilize them and how they can utilize you, like, if you're not being used, you're useless. So that's huge.
That's it.
Yeah.
Be valuable. Be a good person. Strive for greatness.
Amen to that.
That was a great episode.
It was a good episode.
We started off light with some fun topics,
I
and
love
then
it.
we
I love
ended
it.
off
Let's
with
keep starting off light. Let's make sure everybody's having fun. And but we're always gonna throw some gems at you. We're gonna get some people on here who give some gems as well. So
that's gonna be fun. Stay tuned for that. I didn't know we were having Brennan on this week, but stay tuned for the next one.
New logo coming out too. Merchandise will be available too in the next couple weeks. Don't play around with it. Go get the merchandise. Like, view, subscribe on everything. A Puncher's Chance podcast.
We'll see you in the next one.
Bing bong.